Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again for joining me. It is your boy Cool Ty coming at you one more time. And we have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Keith Williams, Phantom, Superman, and Spider-Man artist. This is a great opportunity for me to meet someone who I don't know a great deal about. Now, I've read a lot of the Phantom books. I've read a lot of I've seen a lot of the Phantom movies and TV shows, but I do not have a lot of Phantom books in my personal collection. Also, when you and I met for the first time in Baltimore, it was a very brief meeting. So I'm hoping to not only learn myself more about you and your career, but also teach the viewers and give the viewers some information they may not know about Mr. Williams. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Keith Williams. Welcome and thank you for joining me on the show, sir.
Hi, guys. How you doing? Hi, how's everybody? Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So I want to start off with something pretty straight and basic forward. How long you been in the industry and what brought you into the industry of drawing comics?
Well, I've been in the industry for over 40 years now. Started back in the 80s. The thing that got me into this business was basically reading comic books and loving the stories and the art. And it got me to start drawing some of the characters and stuff. Me and another friend of mine, we'd create our own comic book stories, stuff. And it just really stuck with me. I really thought that it'd be fun to draw my own stories, which brought me through elementary school, drawing at times when I shouldn't have been, and high school, and going up to school visual arts. Where I had Will Eisner as a teacher, and
Oh wow.
a lot. Oh yes, yeah. Creator of the Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I do have a few of those in my collection.
Yeah, right. Aren't they
Yeah.
cool?
Actually, that I didn't even the Spirit book. I think it might be one or two that I have. They actually weren't things that I bought. They were actually gifted to me.
Oh wow, that's nice. That's
yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I have the old Warren books that that they were reprinted in.
Right.
That's absolutely incredible. And I also got the book Contract with God, which was a fantastic book, and that's what got me into his class. So I asked him to sign my book, and I was almost like begging him to be a student in his class, and he signed the book and he said, "You see, this is how you get into my class."
I remember. I've actually seen the book Contract with God before. It's interesting that you said that, because I thought it was a really interesting take on the idea of God. So I thought it was pretty
right.
Yeah.
It was. But and this is with Will's storytelling, his technique, and what his how he was in that period of time, back in that era,
Yeah.
with that. So yeah.
Do you remember any good pointers Will Eisner told you that you still follow today?
Oh, getting the work done on time.
Okay.
Yes, that's very important. Try to do your best work. Sometimes it is difficult to do that because of deadlines. So sometimes you might have to do shortcuts, and that happens sometimes. But just try to do the best you can. Usually when you do that, the people that you're working for will say, "Oh, no, this is great. I think we'll use them again on something else." So that's something that always really stuck with me.
Okay. Did he ever go back and give you some pointers on the art, like how to draw a particular scene or a panel, or do the sequencing better?
Yeah, actually he did. There was a few times he would, when we would bring our stuff up to him to take a look at, he would actually draw over our panels to show us how we should do certain things, which it was weird, but it drove most of us kind of crazy because
Right.
he was going over our artwork. but the thing is that it was great, like that he was actually, like doing that and teaching us that. But so that he didn't have to draw over our original artwork, we told him, like, hey, we got vellum here. You could use the vellum, you could draw over it that way, and everything. So that's when he started using the vellum tracing paper to correct our artwork. But
Gotcha.
stupid me, I didn't think about, I guess, hanging on to that.
I was just thinking, like, I wonder where that artwork is that he drew over to make the
I
correction on your
am, oh,
art. I can see it on your face, man. I can see it on your face.
very, very upsetting every time I think about it. I was just thinking, like a class teacher at the time, I wasn't thinking, oh, well, I should save this stuff.
Right, right, right.
It didn't occur to me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I might actually have some somewhere stashed away somewhere, but I have no idea where it is.
Okay. Do you remember any of the other students who became prominent or notable creators in the business?
Oh yeah, sure. There was Joey Cavalieri, who became a writer on like books like Green Arrow, and also became an editor at DC Comics. There's and there's Mike Collin, who was in the class, was in Will's class for a little while there, and oh gee, he just became the editor of Superman, and also the Warner Brothers animated superhero cartoons and things like that. So he was doing that until just recently. He just recently retired.
Oh wow, that was
Uh,
Mr. Mike Carlin.
yes, Mike Collin. Yes,
Right.
he worked for Marvel. Worked as an assistant editor with Mark Grunwald, and did a lot of cool things there. And then did a ton of stuff over at DC Comics.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's him too. There's another friend of mine's, Brian Postman. He did issues of Spider Woman
Okay.
for Marvel. Mike Clark, who did a few things. I think he did Conan and geez. Oh, and there was one more. Oh gosh, this is terrible. I can't trying to remember his name right now. But he was creator of Curtis.
Of who?
Curtis of Curtis,
Okay.
the comic strip.
Yes.
And I hate myself for not remembering his name right
I,
now. Oh my god.
we'll
Oh,
have to. You will take care of that later because we're talking about Curtis in the newspaper strip.
yes, in the newspaper.
Yes, I
Curtis.
don't know that person's name, but we'll definitely figure that out.
Oh yeah, and then there was also Alex Soviak, who was
Oh
in the
yeah,
class, who was in the class a while back before me, who was in Will's class.
yeah. I actually know Alex Saviuk. I actually meet him at a few different cons.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy, man.
He's a good Spider-Man artist.
Yes, he
So,
is.
so what? How did you end up going from Will Eisner's class to the Phantom comic book?
Oh well, that took some time because there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on in between all that. But when that happened, I was like at the end of working on Web of Spider-Man, and Danny Fingeroff was the editor at the time. And I came into the office one day and he asked me, like, are you interested in possibly working on a comic strip? Yeah, I've never thought of that, but and I said, well, which comic strip is it? He said, oh, it's the Phantom, and they need an inker on the book. Cy Barry is retiring. This was back in like '95, and they have a pencil already, George Olsen, who's also worked in the Phantom. They need an inker, so I said, well, yeah, sure. What do I got to do? So he sent me to Jay Kennedy, who was the editor of the comic strips at the time of
Hmm.
the King Features, and I showed him my stuff, and he liked what he saw, and he says, "This is great. I'm not the last person you have to see about this.
Hmm.
I'm gonna send you over to Lee Falk, who is actually the creator of the Phantom, and I'll let him take a look, and you can talk to him about it." And I said, "Oh, sure." So he sent me gave me his address, and we made an appointment to I made an appointment to go and see Lee, and discovered that he lives on like 86th Street in Manhattan, right
Okay.
across the street from Central Park West,
Okay.
and also across the street from the Hayden Planetarium. It was like it was just amazing, like just knowing that much. Went into the building. He lived on the sixth floor, I believe, of a building where the elevator stops on that floor, and that's the only door that's there when the elevator gets up there. So
Right.
this guy, wow. Anyway, knocked on his door, and he let me in. It looked like he was wearing sort of like a smoking jacket kind of like thing,
Okay.
and we just talked about what I've done, and about the Phantom, and showed him my stuff, and he liked what he saw, and and made the deal.
Okay. Okay. So was there, when you got onto the Phantom, they had already had a pretty big cast of villains and heroes and scenes. Was there
Oh yeah.
anything new that you brought in? Any new creations or any new type of theme or storylines?
Oh, that's a good. Well, after a while, the original letterer Milt Snapin died. I actually took over as letterer on it also. So maybe what I did contribute was, when you do lettering, like sometimes you like would put certain words in bold type
Right.
to like emphasize it more.
Mhm.
I think that's probably what I kind of like added to the
Oh,
to the
okay.
to the strip, and also as things went along, I added more tone work onto the strip. It was basically black and white.
Right.
So like thought I'd try to make it more interesting, and I hope I did. Like I
Yeah.
hope I didn't muddy it up or anything. The problem with that was that I didn't realize until later that some of the newspapers, they would actually color the black and white strips that would come on the weekdays.
Hmm.
So it didn't look as good as I was hoping it would look because of the coloring that was on
Right.
there. Like but I didn't know about it at the time.
Yeah, because you were thinking I'm doing this for black and white. So your
Yes,
patching and the art and the style was all set for black and white. And then when they added
exactly.
a layer of color, it kind of taken away. It took away.
Right. It kind of took away a little bit, kind of muddied it up a little, like for some of the newspapers. But no, well, like I
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get it.
Mhm.
Um, so who would you say, or what would you say was one of your most memorable uh strips when you were doing the Phantom? Is there something that stands out, or is it something that, like, you can say, man, I really put the pencil to the paper in this one and came out with an amazing, beautiful project or end strip after this?
Well, actually, I think it's when I started. Uh, Psy was right in the middle of a story called The Phantom Cowboy,
Hmm.
and that's when we took over. So what I had to do so that it wouldn't be jarring or weird or anything, I tried to match what Psy was doing on a strip before that. And and since Psy didn't say I want to kill you before that, you didn't look right. I think the people that were reading the strip at the time, that I guess they were okay with it, like and I then started to change it a little bit as I was going along, but I feel like I really felt good about, like melding like his style and making sure that it, you know,
Yeah.
that it didn't jar the audience. So I think
Right.
that was the best. That was when I felt like I did
So
really good work.
so the Phantom Cowboy storyline, was that, like you said, it was the middle of it? So that was the middle to the end story? Was it a specific part of the story, or was you just say, when I got on it and I melded, I'm just really proud of all of that came out?
Yeah, exactly. And then after a while, I just felt more comfortable
Got it.
working on it, and slowly started to get it to look more like, I guess my inking style
Right.
was. But yeah, that, just the fact that I was actually able to work on the Phantom.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read about it in like greatest comic book heroes, and like all these other different books, but I never thought that would be a character that I would be
Because
working on.
the Phantom at the time was a big property.
Yes, it was. Yes,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
was.
it
The
spawned
movie came
many
out.
movies. There are
Yeah,
many movies. Yeah,
yes, and cartoons.
yeah,
Cartoons. I think a little before that was like the Defenders of the Earth, and then when I started working on the Phantom, you had the movie. They came
yeah,
out in like 97, 96, 97,
yeah, something like
uh,
that
with Billy Zane.
with Billy Zane. That's correct. I know.
It,
I saw the movie.
it was amazing. I got to meet Billy Zane.
Oh, that's good.
I was there at the premiere that they
Okay.
had in New York. Yeah, so yeah, I was
So,
invited.
were
So
you
cool.
able to work on just the strip, or did you move into the comic book? Did you move into the TV series? How did that work out for you?
Okay, well, I stayed on the strip. I was on the strip for about 10 years, like from 95 to 2005.
Okay.
So I worked on it for that long. And then, funny thing, Moonstone Comics actually had some of the rights to the Phantom to do comic book stories. So I actually ended up doing, I think it was a two-parter, and involved Captain Action. So it's Captain
Okay.
Action and the
With
Phantom.
Moonstone Comics.
Yes, yes, with
Okay.
Moonstone. Yeah, and it was like so cool because over here I'm looking at it right now. I have my Captain Action toy that I didn't take out of the box, and I
Oh, you
also
better
have
not take it out of the box. You better not take it out.
I don't have it out of the box, and I have Captain the Captain Action Phantom costume.
Oh,
That's
wow.
in its box. Yeah, so
Okay, you might have to get that and show it to us. Not right now. We'll figure that out. So other than the two-issue series you did at Moonstone, was there other Phantom, when there was, say, a Phantom cameo or a Phantom crossover, did you work on books like that also?
no, that's no. I got to tell you, like working 10 years uh, on the Phantom on a weekly strip that came out 6 days a week, and you had to have it out there every week. Okay, there was no real vacation time or anything,
Right, right,
so
right.
that was like a lot.
Yeah.
Now that I do commission that people are asking me, to do for the Phantom and stuff like that of the Phantom. So like that's I guess my way of keep staying around for that, like for
Right,
that
right.
character. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm definitely getting on your commission list. I just want to say that right. That guy right there want to get on because I
Oh,
want.
you're good. Good. Good to
So
go.
10 years on the Phantom, and prior to the Phantom, Spider-Man,
Right.
Web of
Right.
Spider-Man.
Web of Spider-Man.
How
Yes.
did how did you lock in Web of Spider-Man, and what issue did you start
Oh boy. Let's see. The issue was what? What? Issue probably 37, 36, 37.
on? Okay.
Probably. Oh, but I was on there before. I was doing stuff even before that.
Right.
I was assistant editor on the Spider-Man books. So when the first issue of Web of Spider-Man was ready to come out, it was maybe a little late. We had to sit down one Saturday morning at Marvel, and it was like a group of us, and like Vince Coletta was there, I was there, letterers were there, and we were all working on this book to get that first issue out.
Right. Right.
So and at that time I was doing background inking. So I actually inked the bell tower where Peter goes up with his black costume on. He's trying to get it off, and the sounds of the bells, the
Yeah. Yeah.
sonic
I know
sound of the
that. I
bells.
know this issue. Absolutely.
There you go, and it shakes it off, and it disintegrates. Yeah, so that was the story. That was I worked on that. So that was actually my first time on Web of Spider-Man. But then, it came the time when I did like 2 issues with, I think, Steve Geiger as the penciler, and then and then it was Alex Selviak for the rest of it.
And you
And
were inking Alex.
yes, for 5 years.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I'm looking at your mannerisms. The Spider-Man was a happy time for you, huh?
Oh yeah, it was. You got to be kidding. Oh my God. You know, another dream come true. You know, first working as an assistant editor on the flagship book, and then becoming an inker on one of the books itself. And I didn't just work on that. I worked once in a while on Spectacular and also Amazing. So you know, like I got to do the whole deal.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
I mean, working on Spider-Man, that's kind of a I've kind of reached the pinnacle of my art career working on those big titles.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I could die
Those are
happy. Right.
flagship titles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. People spend their whole career and not get to work on those titles like this.
I was very fortunate. You know, I don't know. I almost felt like I stumbled onto
Yeah.
it. It was amazing. Yes.
Well, probably with Will Eisner as your teacher, you probably did more than just stumble on it. You probably had the chops to actually achieve that goal.
Well, I'll tell you, Will really helped me out with that. He actually also helped me out with making the decision on doing the Phantom. I actually went to his class one day, and we went out to lunch, and I talked to him about it. And I said, you know, like I got all the other stuff going on at Marvel. You know, like what do you think? You know, could I possibly do this? You know, would it be sensible? And he says, well, Keith, if you got the time, you know, and you want to try out something new,
Yeah.
you should try it. You know, I think if you feel like that's the time to do it. And I said, oh, okay. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
I'll
So
try and
kind of
work.
like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'll try to work it out. Yeah, I
That was
did.
good. So kind of like the Phantom story, you spent a great deal of time working background inking and even some pencils on Spider-Man. Was there a particular issue that just pops out at you other than the bell tower issue?
Well, gosh, besides the bell tower issue, Tombstone, I guess, because like that was like a new character that was created. Didn't realize how big that guy was gonna be, But I was like one of the first guys to ink that character, like with Alex, which was absolutely incredible. It's a great storyline. Gosh, it just the fact of working on these characters. There was God dealt with Kingpin, and I think I also did like a Green Goblin, most likely. There's but like things that I read when I was a kid, teenager, and
Right.
you just don't expect to,
Yeah. Yeah.
do these things.
Yeah. I mean, to
Not
be
at
able to,
all.
yeah. I mean, I wrote a book of poetry, and I put out a rap music project and working on another one, and it's good to have those things out to where other people could listen and enjoy and partake of your
Yes.
work. So I totally understand the feeling of exuberance that you have.
Yeah, it's great. And when the fans come up to my table and they tell me that they read these books when they were kids, and that they really enjoyed it. It's nice. It's nice. I really enjoy talking to them.
Yeah,
That's really
that's
amazing.
that's
Yeah.
good. So when you were at Spider-Man working on the Spider-Man books, did you have some editors that said, you can't do that. You need to go back and draw that.
um, you know,
Remember
uh,
one of these situations.
uh, I was pretty fortunate that didn't really happen that much. And if they did change something, that would probably have ended up with the Raiders, who were working at that time. I wasn't a Romita Raider at the beginning of that, so I know that if there was something wrong or if there's something that needed to be fixed, like a costume or a person with two left feet or something like that, we would go in there and take care of it. We wouldn't send it back to the inker or the penciler to deal with. We would end up doing it.
So because you're coming from it at an editor perspective, you kind of already knew what to look for when you started doing the inking.
Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah, there were sometimes when I could take the time to look and see if there was a problem, but a lot of the time we were just like trying to just get the thing done.
Right.
I just try to make it look as good as possible. And fortunately, we had other people, like that came after us to be able to take a look at it, like John Lemaitre and
Right.
that whole group, that really helped out a lot.
Yeah. Um, you mentioned having having inked Tombstone for like the first time. Do you have any co-creation characters under your belt?
Ah, no. No, well, it's funny because Tombstone was a character that like I inked, and that was like the first time that character appeared, and there was oh gosh, uh another one with John Byrne, Silver Banshee. When
Okay.
when she first appeared, like I worked as a background inker on that. So
Okay.
but in some strange way, I get tied into it, and it's basically John's guy, like
Right.
woman, person, and
Right. Right.
you know, but yeah, I got, but I think it's cool to be able to, like be on books of, like characters' first appearance.
So with that, a follow-up to that question, do you have any creator-owned ideas that you would like to pull into or would that you
Oh,
like to put out?
sure, I got one, but it's like it's like I've had it since college, and even though I've written stories, like a story about her, it still hasn't gotten to the point that I had the time to put it down on paper.
Right.
Like I have the script, I have the story, I have the like the plot, but it just hasn't. I haven't done it yet, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that soon.
Interesting. Would there be any Spider-Man stories you feel like you could tell that you wanted to write?
That I wanted to write.
Yeah,
Oh
or
gosh.
that you would want to be part of? Like as you're working
Well,
on Spider-Man, you're like, I have a really great idea for Spider-Man and a storyline. Did any of that ever come up? Do you have something, back there in the back part of your head that you could say, man, this is a really good Spider-Man that I would love to tell one day?
hmm. No, I always did like Spider-Man when he was a kid, when he was in high school. But like as in a full out story, not really. Like I would like to be a writer, but
Hmm.
but the inking part, I kind of like overwhelmed
Right,
everything else for about a good 30 years of of my life.
right, right, right.
Yeah, it wasn't until recently that I actually started penciling again. So,
Okay.
and yeah. So it's like it's slowly coming along. I'm really hoping that I will have time to work on my own character and just finally put it out there.
Well, that would be
Still a
good.
dream.
Listen, I would be one of them, and I'm sure there are many other Keith Williams fans who would also want to see that.
Oh God.
Um, shifting topics a bit, how was it being an African American male in comics at that time where there weren't that many?
Yeah, there really wasn't. Uh, I got to tell you, one of my heroes is Ron Wilson.
Hmm. A good buddy of mine.
He,
I'm interviewing him soon.
oh, you are?
Oh yeah, he's a good buddy of mine.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Uh,
he was amazing. I knew him for a long time back when Marvel Comics was at 575 Madison. I actually went up there and showed some of my stuff to it might have been actually, was it? Gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was like Marie Severin. Jeez. Anyway, but I did show some of my stuff. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But I got to meet Ron Wilson, and Ron then introduced me to other freelancers in this freelancing room that they had up there. So I got to see Ed Hannigan, Keith Pollard, Rich Buckler, and a bunch of other guys that would usually just like hang out and like they'd be finishing deadlines and stuff like that, and they'd be up in those in that area of the office. And yeah, Ron and uh and Keith Pollard, they were great guys. They really they really helped me out a lot. They really taught me some stuff, and I used to go up there like almost every Friday after I first met them, just hang out with them, talk to them, and just watch everybody draw and see how they do this stuff. I don't know how I got into that, but I was fortunate to be
Well,
able to go up there.
it kind of sounded like you had some mentorship from some other
Yes,
was in the industry who kind of said, let's help him keep moving forward and increasing his skill and connect him to the right people in the industry.
yes, and these were the black artists that were up there at the time. And it was great. Yes, yes. And at the time, I got to tell you, I was just doing work first as a background inker and bringing the stuff up to Marvel and letting just getting the stuff up there on time and stuff. No, there was no real thought of that. At least not for me at that moment in time. Now, when I became an assistant editor, for Spider-Man with Jim Owsley, who's Christopher Priest, who did like the Black Panther books and stuff like that. I seem to remember the production manager calling us the two pimps up in Marvel.
Yeah, I hope someone said, "Let me pump the brakes on you on that one, my man. Don't do that."
Jeez. Oh, back in those days, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
that was about it. Everything else was just basically, going into different editors' rooms, hanging out, talking, stuff like that. There was no real, like anything except just talking comic books,
Right.
which is sort of like how it works. Like when you're at a convention, it just has that feeling of like, you're just another comic book guy.
Right. And that's kind of what you want. I just want to fall into being just another comic book guy. I want to get the work done on time, and I want to get
That's
paid and keep it going.
that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, and I made good friends too. Like there. So I just I don't know. I didn't really think of things that were like uncomfortable. Not really.
Good.
Like Marvel was like a mom and pop kind of like store kind of thing,
Right. Right. Well,
and
that's
like if anything, it was just basically practical. It was horrifying practical jokes and stuff like that. But other than that.
any of those you can spill to us right now.
um, jeez. Okay. Well, I did. Because I'm such an innocent soul, and people just trust me. Like I was able to handcuff geez, Howard Mackey and somebody else that I'm trying and Bob Harris together. I don't know why I did that, but the handcuffs were there, so I just couldn't help myself. Anyway, but there you go. So that's one of the things. Another thing was I believe that they in Mark Grunwald's office, he liked supposedly liked Michelle Marsh, who was on Channel 2 News a long time ago. So what they did was they got all these Michelle Marsh posters and put it everywhere in his room, in his office. They were even in the fluorescent lights fixture.
Right.
It was
Right.
everywhere. So that was funny. And then there was other just fun times. Popcorn Friday, I think it was, and there was always just stuff going on. It was always just fun hanging out with these guys. Like I mean, they did have to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
it sounds like a good group of friends and good camaraderie, and everybody's hanging around doing their thing,
yeah,
and working it out together.
it was.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
The
good.
bullpen was great. The bullpen was fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have heard a lot of stories about the bullpen and the number of talent that's in there.
Oh yes, yes. Wow. The letterers are, like, and the people who, like actually put the book together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing what they did every day there.
So
Yeah.
how do you feel right now being one of the legends? I mean, you've had a really good career with the Phantom, Spider-Man, a really good career. What does it mean now to have so many fans and people come up to you as you being one of the old heads, giving you such accolades and such giving you your flowers? How does that feel?
It's kind of
Look at that, look at that
yeah,
smile. Look at that
because
smile.
you're like saying, well, I'm just doing this for work, man. I mean, I'm just trying to get a paycheck and
But it had
everything.
a major but
And
it had such a major impact on so many people.
they're all very, very nice. It's absolutely incredible. Just talking to the people and them telling me that I might have worked on the first book that they ever read.
Yeah,
It's like, whoa, really? That's so nice.
yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to has been always very pleasant, always wonderful, and it does make me feel good. Like I just don't know if I really deserve like all of that.
That's good. So, Mr. Williams, are there any current artists that you like or that you follow right now?
I don't follow many, but Ivan Reyes is a
Ivan Reyes, yes.
Reyes. Yes, yes, great, great
That dude
artist.
has the chops.
I've read like the Aquaman books that he did
Yes,
way
absolutely. I
back,
have that run myself.
and I don't know. He just has this style, like the shading, like of his art. It's amazing. It's
And
amazing.
I do have to tell you, it's actually interesting that you mentioned him. His Superman run, spectacular.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
Spectacular. His Birds of Prey run, spectacular. I honestly have to tell you, pretty much everything he does. For me, he's such a solid artist. Like it just everything he does is it's so well. Two people that I really like, I think had really good chops is uh oh goodness, name just slipped my mind. Dwayne Turner. Uh
Dwayne
oh my goodness.
Dwayne Turner.
He's another person that
Yes.
I'd like to interview and get connected with him. I just felt like the way his style was, it had a little bit of a grunge, dirty feel, but it was really like had a little mosaic to it, the way his shading was. Really,
Yeah.
really good.
hmm
He was
Love his stuff too.
he was
Yeah.
really good.
Yes. Absolutely. I would love. I know there's some other people that are out there right now, but at this moment, it just escapes my
Yeah.
mind.
So now you're doing commissions. How do you like doing that?
Oh, it's fun. It helps me to improve my penciling
Yeah,
technique. I get asked all different kinds of things, not just superheroes, but I've done portraits, like faces, people. I've done dogs.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
cats.
I had my dog, or the dog that I had. His name was Squash Boogie. He died during COVID.
Oh my gosh.
I had an artist
Oh,
to render him on a when he was younger on a comic book.
oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
love that
So
dog.
I'm sorry to hear that, but that sounds really cute.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Oh,
what would you say some wild commissions that you've gotten?
wild commission. God, my gosh. Boy, it's like might get some that are maybe just a little risque, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not gonna mention anyone particular. Like I'm just saying that
Right,
sometimes, there are things that people, like would like that, like are a little more interesting than the
right, right.
normal comic book poses and
Yeah,
and things. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thinking about inking, so I have a big deal. So I have some favorite inkers: Dexter Vines,
Yes.
Norm Ratmut.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Uh, so I think those two for me are some of the top inkers I really like. There's
Joe
Scott.
Prado, Joe Prado,
Yes,
and Scott Hanna. Yeah,
yeah. So
and Mark Morales.
yes, Danny Mickey, also
Yes.
an amazing inker.
Yes, yes.
Scott Williams, an amazing inker. Do you think having the pen, having the page, having the original Bristol board inked is better than the digital version?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can do both, but the feel, the pull of the paper when you're working with a brush or a cocoa pen, it's totally different from working on glass.
Right,
Okay,
right.
sometimes they like to have like a thing that you can use to get kind of like the feeling of the texture, but it doesn't really replace like Bristol paper.
Yeah,
Working on that, just I'm used to it. That's what I was working with since back in the '80s.
yeah, yeah.
So even when I do work on the computer, I usually use that as a basic tool to get my idea out of my head. So then I can print it out on paper, and I would usually use graphite and work on the back of it, and then put it onto, like I would draw over it and
Right.
put it onto another piece of paper, and
Okay.
then I would finish it up on that.
Oh wow. Okay. So whereas some people are going, from pencil paper, scanning it in, blowing it up, and doing it on digital, you're going from doing it quickly on digital, printing it out, and doing it on pencil and paper. That's actually a
Mm.
really interesting way of doing it. I don't think I've ever heard anybody do it that way before as well.
It's a tool. I use it as a tool. There are sometimes when I really have to get something done really quick, and I would just do everything on the computer. But mostly I would like to have a solid, like real piece.
Yeah.
That I can show and that I could possibly sell later.
Right. 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 Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you could do prints and things like that, but sometimes somebody would like an original piece of artwork.
Yeah, I
So
have to tell you, I personally am. I know a lot of artists make a lot of their income off of prints, and I definitely say support your artists. They are, for most of them, are freelance, independent contractors. Definitely support them. But me personally, I'm not really big into prints. Like even if it means that I would have to spend money to get something smaller, I would still enjoy having a small piece of original Phantom
there you go.
versus having a print. That's just me, but I do know some people have prints and they just have them sprawled all
Yes,
over. If
yes,
you
they
look
do.
over my shoulder, you can't see it, but I have some of my original art up there, which I'm hoping to add a Keith Williams up there. Wank,
Ah,
wank, wank. I'm hoping to add a Keith Williams up there at some point. So
okay.
yeah, I like the original. I like the original art. Something I just got, my wife gave me for my birthday. She bought me a Highwayman. I don't know if you know who that is.
Highwayman. Is that from Preacher?
No,
Or
no, no. The
is it?
Highwaymen are a bunch of Florida artists
Oh no.
back in
Gosh.
the day who drove up and down painting the Florida scene.
Oh
They,
really?
they were African American men, and there was one woman, but they self-taught. One guy kind of taught everybody, and they made some of the most beautiful. You have to look them up later. Look up the high. I'll send you a link. Is what I'll do. Some
Thank you.
of the most beautiful, beautiful, scenic, panoramic Florida. I mean, Florida is beautiful. I grew up in Florida, and their art just embodies it 100%.
Oh,
A bunch of
okay.
black men, and they were just traveling up and down the coast selling their artwork, and now it's extremely popular.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible. I did
yeah.
not know about this. No, I never heard of
Well,
it.
I am
That's
going to
something.
send you some art. I'm going to send you a link, my man, so you can learn about it. And I'll actually, everybody, I'll actually also make sure that I put a link for the Highwaymen somewhere in either the information or I'll put it in the comment section. But yeah, they're really great artists, man. They were just amazing. So we were talking about those toys. Can we see them?
Oh, yes, you can. Let me just get first one, Captain Action, and
Yeah,
let me
he's
try.
had a newer book recently.
Yes, yes. But this was one of the superhero toys that I played with when I was a kid.
Hmm.
You know, although the one that I played with, I threw up into the air, and when it hit the ground, his arms shot out, and I wasn't able to put them back in.
So you did with, I think it was, you said Moonstone, you did
Yes.
a crossover with Captain Action and the Phantom.
Yes, and here's the Phantom outfit right here. There you go. And he has the automatics, and the I think there's even a ring in there somewhere.
And so, that would go, that outfit
Yes.
would go on Captain Action.
Yes, you would put Captain Action into this outfit.
Into the Phantom outfit. That's actually,
Yes. and yeah, I had Aquaman and Superman and stuff like that. I also changed them into. It was really cool.
Did you ever work on any toy rendering that, art that would eventually turn into, like, I forgot what it's called. I have one of Bizarro and Bloodwind.
Oh,
where it's that toy rendering art that will eventually become the toy.
Well, no, actually, I worked on as an inker. I worked on Sectors. That was a toy that had the insects were like puppets. You stick your hand in there, and you could use your fingers as their legs to move around.
Right.
And also Transformers. I did the inking on Transformers.
You did the 2 issues of the Transformers.
2 issues, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm about
with Don Perlin. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what issue? I'll find the issues. I'll definitely look.
Good grief, I can't. Yeah.
Don't worry, I will do the research and find them. But everybody out there in YouTube land, thank you very much. Please remember I completely forgot to tell everybody, which I'm hoping you already know, to always like, share, and subscribe. I apologize. We got such into this conversation. I really had a good time. I do have to tell you, it's great interviewing you. I love hearing from the old heads who have some really good gems to drop and knowledge to tell us. I really appreciate it. To everybody out there, connect with Mr. Keith Williams. You can find him on Facebook, right?
That's right. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram, Keith Williams Comic Book Art.
Very good. So again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time spending it with Mr. Williams and myself. If you are interested in a commission, if you're interested in getting some books signed, Mr. Williams will be at Baltimore Comic Con 2023, correct?
That's right. That's right.
And I will
go ahead.
Be there also. So definitely make sure you stop by his table, bring some books for him to sign, put your name on a commission list, maybe even get a commission before the show. So when you get to the show, you can just pick it up. So again, thank you, Mr. Williams. I appreciate you spending the time. Thank you to all of the subscribers out there. Thank you to everybody watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is your boy Cool Ty once again coming at you. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining me and spending this time. I like saying that because I like you guys hanging out with us. I do. Mr. Williams, thank you for your time as well, and everybody else. Once again, peace.